Hi guys, so I'm in Autodesk Sketchbook and I already started my drawing so I can kind of give you some tips and show you what I've done so far and how I did it. So for my image here, I want you guys to look at the layers panel on the side, and if you notice I have things in different layers, which is something you're really going to have to do to be able to build up your images. Alright, like even the hot dogs that I drew, if you look, they're in different layers. Alright, each part of it. The same thing with the background, I have different layers built for it. All right, what I found that gave like a nice effect, and this obviously isn't done yet, I started with the, in the library, I went right here to the airbrush because it gives a nice soft overview and a soft effect. All right, so what I can do from here is I'm going to go into the very background and I'm going to start a layer, and then I'm going to choose a blue, and I'm going to start with like the sky. Alright, so I'm going to start with my blue for the sky, and I'm going to make my size a little bit bigger. Alright, so now when I'm doing this, I'm behind everything at this point. Okay, and while doing this, it doesn't have to be kind of solid. So when you're coming up with whatever your images are that you're going to be drawing, you're going to want to make sure that whatever you're drawing is something that you like to draw. So if you don't like drawing people and you made your entire alliteration about yourself, you might want to change that. You can still change your alliteration if you'd like to. All right, so now I'm able to kind of color behind these hills that I have. And you can add as much color you want or as little color as you want. That part's totally up to you. All right, you can add in some clouds if you want to add in some of these, the white areas. I'm going to actually go whiter than that. Go on top of it. All right, but you're going to have to create a whole entire layered background. All right, so what I kind of like to do for this is I started with the ground first, and then I started adding kind of people on top of it. All right, so now I have one person there, I have another little guy started there, and these are the fuzzies from the saying about fuzzies flinging frankfurters. So I'm going to have them on hills. Now, if I wanted to make somebody stand out a lot more, what do I do in my layers is I'm going to go from wherever I want it. I'm going to add a new layer. All right, and you have to play around with different ones of these pens, like the felt tip pen, if you find that one, which is in traditional, and it's right here. This one stands out a lot. So this one covers up if there's like a lot of background that you don't really want to see there. And if I wanted to make like somebody over here that's maybe a little bit bigger, and I wanted to start drawing my person before doing like the textures all on top of it, because this is how I usually was starting out these guys, so it had some texture. Some of the other pens, even when you change the opacity and the brushes, they're kind of see-through still. Okay, so I'm going to make this one in the foreground. I'm going to actually kind of make the size a little bigger. And I could make this a little bit bigger if I wanted to, but for the edges, I like the scribbly effect of it being smaller. All right, and then what I would be able to do with this is then I can go on top of it, whoops, with another brush, and then I can play around with the texture that I have on it. Oops. All right, and this is completely like what I'm doing right now. I'm completely just playing around with it and looking at different brush types that I might want to use. See, I kind of like this one. Because I feel like this gives the effect that I would want. Okay, and then I might want to change my colors up a little bit. Change the sizes up. Okay, then to go on top of this and start creating details, what I would do is then I would add another layer. All right, and then from here, I would start a layer, and if I wanted to make like shapes for the eyes on this layer, I would choose whatever brush that I want, or pen tool. Oops. All right, so now I use the shape tool up at the top. All right, and now I don't want the shape tool anymore, but I want the paint bucket tool because I want to fill them in. All right, and originally I had some lines inside of it if you saw, but if I pressed it a couple more times and I filled it again, it just spread it out a little bit more. So now on the eyes on this guy, see how I have highlights on it? So to create those highlights, I use that airbrush tool again. All right, I just made it smaller, and then I changed my color. So if I wanted to like use the purple, or if I wanted to use the gray, use like this type of color. I can kind of put that in for highlights. All right, then I can go back in with the felt tip brush pen. All right, and now for the mouth, I would create another layer. All right, so now I have another layer created. I might make this a little bit smaller, and oh, sorry, I actually want to show you a trick. When you're drawing this line, if you want to smooth out your line, there's a squiggly line at the top, and when you hit it, it says predictive stroke. This smooths out your line. So if I drew a line like this and I wanted it smoother, it smooths it out for you. See? So it makes it really easy to make those nice smooth lines that you might want. All right, so this makes it a lot easier to draw. I would definitely use that predictive, oops, I meant to draw, sorry. That right over here, the predictive brush stroke, I would use that all the time when you're just drawing, because it really smooths out any lines that are a little bit shaky. All right, this should actually be thicker, I think. All right, and you want to make all the people look a little bit different. For mine, for yours you could do whatever you want. When I do like the arms and the legs, like I did on that guy up there, what I would do for this one is I would create a new layer. I would have the layer underneath the body. So this is the last thing I drew over here. So I would have now a new layer, and if I wanted to use the same color I used for the other guy, so things are a little bit the same with them, I would just go like that, and then I would start drawing. And you see how that kind of smoothed out my line again? It changed it. And I'm going to have this guy with his arms up in the air again, just like the other guy. All right, so whatever you're drawing about, you want to be able to make sure that you're illustrating your drawing exactly, and that you're using some of these shading tools, like even on, these arms and legs right here. What I would then do is I can again go back to that airbrush tool, and this works really, really nice for creating shadows on things. So now I can go on to these. I know I didn't draw the fingers or anything yet, but I'm just showing you that you can kind of shade easily. And it just gives it like a little bit of, keep doing that, sorry, a little bit of extra detail to it. All right, now, one very important thing I want you to keep in mind is we're going to be adding text to this. All right, so you would be creating a new layer. Oops, I actually want that to be up at the top. So I'm sliding it, and the way that I slid my layer is if you just hold your finger down on it or your stylus, you can just move it up. At the top of this, you'll see there is text. So you're going to be typing in whatever your text is on here in some way so that it fits and that the type of font that you use makes sense with your drawing. So my sentence was, whoops, was it for fuzzy? It was about 4 funny fuzzies. So that was my first line. So now that I have that typed out, I'm not going to hit done. What I'm going to hit is the capital A and the little a, because this is how you choose your font. So you'd be able to choose whatever kind of font that you feel goes with whatever your drawing is. All right, so if say I chose that one. Now I'm going to pinch it, I could move it, I could put it however I want. All right, I want you to kind of play around with the different things at the top to figure out where you're putting your words. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because before you commit to whatever your entire layout is, you want to kind of know what you're doing with your writing also, because maybe whatever your picture has to do with, maybe your writing is going to be incorporated and become part of it. All right, you can also change the colors of your writing right here. So if you didn't want black and you wanted something else, this is how you change that. You could change all the values. All right. So this is something that I want you guys to play around with, figure out with, all right, as you're going along. All right, once you hit done, just so you're aware, then it kind of commits it to how it is. All right,